Hey all, welcome back to my channel, Itsuchi here. We need to talk about free roam for a little bit. Let's go to free roam. So I've been messing around with the test stage. Who's a fun character? Someone fun. I've been hanging out with Sasuke lately because of his one Gekitou. We're gonna go to the test stages. All right. Oh yeah. Also, small update. I added HUD to free roam. Anyway. So the reason I wanted to come online and talk about free roam a little bit. First is look at the frame rate. This is in 1080p 60 while recording. There's a dip. And that's one of the things I want to talk about. I've been doing some experimenting with the test maps, like a lot of experimenting, to see. I want to start with something basic to make sure I can get the coding side of performance down, and then basically once I get the code side of optimization down, then I would start making sure I can maintain that good frame rate with the background. So basically make sure the game itself can run smoothly and then make it look pretty. So that's why you guys have been seeing weird things on the screen. I don't know if you guys can see it, but a bit pop-up just popped up. I'll just, and then it's gone. Anyway, that was weird. Back to what I was saying. So, yeah, the game is optimized now, and now I've been basically building a few more stages to, test stages to kind of start to push the boundaries. This stage right here, this terrain, as they call it in Unity, is 1,000 meters by 1,000 meters. So that's a square kilometer. So it's a square kilometer, and the game obviously runs smoothly with the square kilometer. So I wanted to add in a few parts. So the desert stage was added recently. We can actually go there while I'm talking to give you something interesting to look at. Please mind the gameplay may look weird. This is not free roam is not optimized for mountain climbing by any means. As you see, the camera angles and physics do not support it. It can be done, but it's very leaves a lot to be desired. But anyway, I added in the desert stage, which is also a square kilometer. These maps are massive. And by the way, the Leaf Village, if you guys are wondering, the Leaf Village, the main village, is actually 1,500 meters, square meters, which is 1.5 kilometers, excluding the part that contains the third training field. That by itself is another section, but the main part of the village itself, if you were to go from the main gate all the way to the Hokage Monument, is 1.5 kilometers, just to give you perspective. But anyway, so I went on and added this desert area, making this now 2 squared kilometers, I noticed it was still running smoothly, even at 2 square kilometers, making this map even bigger than the Leaf Village. And then I even added a third section, which is over there. So we have the valley stage, which is over those mountains and in a valley. Then we have the mountainous region, which is all mountains, and there's a stage up in the mountains. We'll go there next. And then we have the desert region, all 1,000 square meters, so 1 square kilometer. And this is where you actually fight in the game. I noticed I started to experience some slowdowns, not in the desert really, which is strange actually. Oh, and while I'm saying that, I experienced a slowdown. But I started to first experience slowdowns, that's the path back to the valley. I first started to experience slowdowns when I added in the mountain. And I learned that optimization has to do with the way these textures are duplicated. It's just the terrain. So basically this is a terrain object. This is not a model. You can build terrain like it's The Sims in Unity's engine. Hence why my game is not optimized. The camera's not optimized to work with it very well. It's just a basically piece of geometry with texture on it. But anyway, the geometry is actually a huge factor in the slowdowns. It turns out, just Unity is not very optimized with dealing with terrains like this. So I'll try to keep those on a minimum when redesigning the leaf map. But anyway, I just wanted to start with that. What I really wanted to talk about, and again, I'm just, actually, it's really easy to get lost here. I have a little path that will take me back. I'm going to go back to the valley first. what I wanted to talk about is the open world potential. I'll sidetrack for just a moment and show you kind of the grand scale. Like, this is a whole ass square kilometer of desert, and you can get lost. That's why I added this path. You can kind of see from the circle, there's a little like dark shadow of a path that you can follow, and this will take you back up through there, through back to the valley, and there's another path that'll take us to the mountains and a new region that I've added. But anyway, the point is, look at this. This is vast, and it's actually really exciting. I was kind of fantasizing about what the sand village could look like, because remember, my game, it's a giant map. You actually have to travel there. It's not just we're teleporting to the next part of the story. It's, you know, when it's time to go to the sand village to rescue the Kazekage, you gotta actually leave the village from the Hokage's mansion when you get assigned the mission and go to the fucking Leaf Village. And so there will be a desert pot, and the desert will have sandstorms, just like it did in anime. There'll be things to do while you trek through the desert, and you'll need Tamari to kind of guide you, because you will absolutely die in a sandstorm. But we'll get to that later. But the point is, this kind of gave me, I didn't know how I was going to handle that. Like, the world, do I want to have a main path that's more linear with pretty background details? Do I want to have a true open world? These are kind of questions. You can have free roam without having open world. So I decided that, or not, I haven't decided anything, but playing this kind of gives me hope that this could become, and I can go the route of open world, where it is a point, it is still a Naruto game, it's not a Zelda game, but there is some areas like a desert, for example, that would be open world, where you have multiple square kilometers of desert, and you've got to find the sand village through dunes and go around, and anyway, but yeah, that's kind of what the desert got me thinking of. I also upped the running speed because it was taking way too long to get anywhere. So the running speed is extremely faster now. Like, you can still run slowly, but if you... Oh, I lost the path. I don't know where I'm going. It is very easy to get lost. Okay, here's the path. It goes over here. But yeah. I made the running speed faster so you can get places faster, and I need to figure out at some point when I start developing free roam how to make you be able to climb stuff easier, because climbing is a pain with the current mechanics, because it was designed for a more flat Leaf Village. It was not designed for mountain climbing. Anyway, we're back in the valley. That takes you to the forest, hence all the greenery. We're going to go to the mountains first. Yes, I know I just said it's not good for mountain climbing, but hey, we gotta go to the mountains so I can show you. But anyway, yeah, I just kind of wanted to show you guys some of like what free roaming the test map is, and you can see how much of a pain climbing this is, which is why I don't want to, I can't package this in a way that makes it worth playing. If I actually send a demo out of this kind of stuff, it's just going to be people, oh, the free roam didn't feel good. Well, duh, I haven't developed it at all. So it's just better to keep it in my own versions of the game for now, until I get something a little bit more playable and fun. But anyway, this is the test map, and we're in the mountainous region now. Look, it just kind of, I'll go up to a peak here. It's just mountains. We're going over there to the stage, but yeah, it's just mountains. We're way up high in the air now. And I was just like, wow, can you imagine like going through the mountains, all of a sudden you stumble on the final valley? Anyway, let's go on over to our little stage. I definitely have to find a way to make like traversing hills like this much more fluid. All right. I did give the mountains a kind of unique feature. Because it's so terrainous, I made the ground a little bit more slippery, but you see it's sometimes too slippery. The regular ground isn't like this, but the slipperiness makes it a little bit easier. As you saw, I kind of glided over some of these hills. It makes it much easier in the mountains to glide like this. Like I didn't jump at all there. So yeah, the slipperiness is definitely better for mountain climbing, but it doesn't really work in general, so that's why I only have it in the mountainous region where there's a lot of mountains, and this is like the only flat area of the mountain region, and that's just for the sake of the fighting stage. This is where you fight in the test map. Anyway, but yeah, this is kind of what an open world could look like, very unoptimized, and look at the frame rate. You see how much it's dropped? That's just Unity not knowing how to handle rendering terrain. I don't know what the actual root cause is. You can see in the background here, when you get a certain distance away, as with any game, you can see it even in Breath of the Wild, it'll kind of remove the texture in a sense, and just put a generic color to represent what a texture could look like there. So I have implemented that, so it'll only render the texture up to 500 meters, so half a kilometer, and beyond that, it'll start to blend it out. I mean, I can put that super close, but then we're just going to get really ugly backgrounds. So 500 kilometers is reasonable, I think. 500 meters is reasonable, I think. But I'll have to figure out a workaround. I'm thinking what I may do is when I redo the Leaf Village, I may actually build the entire Leaf Village in Blender, now that I know how to use Blender, and then port everything in. The current map uses terrain and then has leaf buildings in it, but that terrain again is causing serious slowdown, so I may just build the whole Leaf Village in Blender and then import it over, because imports and meshes work different than terrain, because this is Unity having to calculate all of this, versus Blender can do all that and then export it into an asset. So I may do that, and that may help. I don't know. I'll develop free roam after movesets. Movesets are more important than free roam. So it's not something I'm going to do yet, but it's things I'm starting to think about as I'm testing with these test stages and trying to maintain performance. I did notice performance is dropping when I'm using a lot of terrain items. But you see here, it's just fine. I have no idea why certain areas are lagging and certain aren't. But anyway, I'll keep a closer eye on it. We'll go back to the valley, because that's our kind of central hub. And these mountains, you absolutely can get lost. I do need to stick to the path. I'll go to the forest as well. Something I realized last night when I was taking, what was I doing? No, I was getting ready to add another test stage. Where are we? Yeah, that's the path. I was getting ready to add another test stage, and again, like I say, I'm trying to push the limits with each one. So this mountain region, the desert region was to just make the space bigger in general. The mountain region was to add a bunch of complex geometry, which I did notice made the game slow down. And then I wanted to add a forest region, which would start to add in trees, just trees, because I have a forest generator script that can generate forest. So I just generated a forest, and I learned that the forest with over 400 trees in it actually didn't affect performance much at all. The game ran really close to what it did like on stages that had nothing in them, meaning even rendering a lot of trees and objects like that isn't really a huge pull on the rendering pool. It's more the terrain. Yeah, we're almost there. Yay, the forest. This is actually my first time playing the forest in free roam, actually. I played it a little bit in versus, but yeah. Right, just a little forest stage with some trees. See, I can't tell if the frame rate is bad because of the trees or because of the terrain. I guess I could try deleting the terrain, but I didn't notice a huge difference when I played the few versus battles. I was still maintaining, like even now I'm maintaining over 90 frames per second, or I guess I'm not maintaining over 90 frames per second. I'm maintaining over 80 frames per second for the most part with over 400 trees loaded here. Even spinning like this, constantly rendering, it's not really affecting the frame rate at all. So, it's interesting. Like, I have to think about these things as I'm going because I don't want to make a mistake and then have to come back like now. And the whole Leaf Village took me weeks to months to build the Leaf Village we have now, doing it piece by piece. And now I have to kind of scrap it all. So I want to like learn as much as I can as I'm going. Also, as a secret, I put that back there. The Tuning Exams Battle Arena is back here. Again, I wanted to add another test map that starts to use a few more other elements. So I have a forest, and then I put the Tuning Exams back here. It's actually inside. You can't see it, and I can't get inside. You can only play it in versus mode. But yeah, it's actually loaded in there. But I can't show you because, yeah. I decided to put colliders all around the building and no entrance. But yeah, the battle arena is in there. You can fight in there in versus mode. Anyway, also I cannot wait to start working on Freedom because you see how the backs of the trees don't have backs because the original game's on DB optimized. I can add in the backs now, yay! Because I can model now, and then I'll be able to render the trees, and you'll be able to go behind them now instead of just forward facing. Anyway, this is the forest stage. The end. But yeah, this is kind of the free roam potential that I'm thinking of. Imagine like you've got the leaf has a forest. It's going to be a huge expansive forest with hills. You've got the forest of death. This is just a flat forest. I didn't bother with hills. Again, I'm not trying to go that crazy on a test map. I just wanted to have a map that had trees in it. So I just did flat surface with trees. There's some hills on the outskirts. I can't tell you how fun it is, like running in between the trees. I really want to start making the map. So like out here, it's like bumpy, but I don't have time to like add trees on all the hills. Again, yeah, not trying to do all that for a test stage. But when I do eventually add in, you know, at some, oh, and we've reached the border boundaries. But when I do eventually add in the leaf map, I'll have to do forests at some point, and you'll be able to just run through. But again, how many trees, how far can I go with that? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, you've got the desert over there. We're looking at the backside of it. You've got the, that's in the west is the desert. We are currently in the south, which is the forest. In the center is the valley, and up north is the mountainous region. I haven't put anything in the east yet. And yeah, and the forest also has the tower. And that tower is massive. Like it's a tower. But yeah. Anyway, this video is kind of long. Yeah, and that's another problem with terrain. So it's very thin, so it's easy to clip through. The only way really around it is to reduce the rate in which you can fall, or jump just before falling. Anyway, yeah, you can fall through the ground at sometimes if you jump from very high up and you can pick up too much speed and you'll clip through the ground. Another fallacy of the terrain, there's no really way to fix that because it's just one-dimensional. That's why you can see under it. The top is the only layer. It's weird. It's weird how Unity works with terrain. So anyway, that's the current problem, is Unity's terrain is not super great to work with at this scale. It looks like the terrain is good enough, but maybe the terrain tool was not designed for Zelda level open worlds. I don't think that's what I'm getting from it, unless I don't have the right settings tweaked. So I'll, when I get to free roam, I'll have to play around with it. We will run back to the forest because why not? But I can't wait to develop forest. Like imagine like actually having to run through the forest, playing tag, playing hide and seek in a dense leaf forest. That'd be so fun. And also, how cool are Sasuke's eyes? Like. Remember when he has to escape from Zetsu? Imagine that happens. Like this is the Toby's hideout, and then you've got to like chase Zetsu and try to catch him and kill him. Ooh, got some speed. I don't know how fast we're running, but we're running at a very high speed. It's so fun. Woo! This feels really good. I've never actually. This is my first time, like I say, playing this in free roam, and it's really fun, like running around the trees. It's kind of like imagining what an open world Clash Ninja game or a true open world Naruto game could look like. I know there's a lot of open world Naruto fan games out there, but the problem with those games is they allow custom creation to go too far, and it doesn't look like Naruto at all. You just pick a bunch of imported assets from Storm and then mix and match to make anything. I'm not trying to criticize those games. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm just saying is they don't feel like Naruto games. It's the same issue I have with Storm. They feel like ninja games. They feel like anime games, and they're great ninja games. They're great anime games. They just don't feel like Naruto games. They use generic tree assets that are imported. They don't use like Storm's tree assets. So again, the trees in the forest look more like Zelda than they do Naruto. Again, this is not a criticism to the developer. It's just I want to make the world's best Naruto game, not another anime game. There's a distinction. That's not a criticism to people making another anime game. Anime games are needed. Anime games are fun. We have that already. We have a lot of open world Naruto games that are those ninja copy-pasted assets from Storm, and you run around a generic asset or copy-pasted village from Storm. I want to build something that's unique that makes you feel like I'm actually running through the leaf forest from Naruto. I'm in Naruto. And that's something that I've never seen before. I haven't seen it before. So I just want to make something like that. And this is the start, the foundation. Unfortunately, Unity, I'm just kind of running around on purpose now just to kind of push Unity's system. I can't watch the frames per second while running, so I can rewatch the video and look at the FPS and see kind of what all it can handle and can't handle. But anyway, yeah, just kind of want to get online and rant. Thanks for ranting and watching with me. I hope this you guys are fantasizing like I am. I'm just kind of imagining these trees with backsides, so I'm not running through the back end of these invisible trees. I'm running, imagining having paths. Imagine each path. I don't know how I'll do it to keep you from getting lost, but maybe there will be a map. Maybe there'll be signs to let you know where you're going. Like, hey, this way to the Leaf Village, this way to the Sand Village, this way to the Cloud Village, this way to the Land of Iron, this way to the Grass Village, and you can really actually run and go there. Kind of like Storm 2 a little bit, but free camera, and it's not so linear. It's an actual open world. You can't get sidetracked, maybe in story mode to keep you from getting sidetracked. Whoever's with you, like let's say you're going to the Tenchi Bridge. If you try to go to the Sand Village, Yamato will be like, Naruto, stop. You're going the wrong way. And then if you keep going the wrong way, you'll fail the mission. Like, hey, you wasted too much time, you got off track. You fail the mission for being off track. And then, of course, just have a free remote where you can just run around freely. Like this. In a bigger area than just a test area with some trees that only have front side faces. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great night. Or morning, whatever time of day it is where you are. Cheers.